for me, what makes a Mary Sue or a Gary Stu is not whether or not they worked to get to where they are at the beginning of the action. All right. Mm-hmm. It is, do they need to continue to work on themselves over the course of the action? Or are they everything that they already need to be?
Yeah.
Is there character growth that is necessary for this person?
Yeah.
Like, that was really my main complaint about Rey in the newest Star Wars trilogy. It wasn't that, you know, women can't do X, Y, and Z. It was that Rey didn't need to change over the course of that trilogy.
Well,
she already
she resists change most of the time.
Yeah. And like, you know, it was in you all along, kiddo. She didn't have to sacrifice something that she like.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going down a dark path.
She didn't change fundamentally as a character. She was. Yeah. You could have dropped Rey from the beginning of episode
7.
7?
Yep.
Yes, 7.
Into the end of episode 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And there's no significant difference there. Like,
no, and in fact, she ignores the training, and she does. So, like, the funny thing about that series is that they tried to do parallels with the original trilogy, like where she goes to Luke and she gets trained or whatever, and then she leaves him even though he said you can't do this or whatever. Except for, unlike Luke, who loses a hand, Rey shows up and is able to, like, move rocks with her mind and, like, do all of the things.
Subverting expectations.
It subverted my expectations by making somebody who was explicitly untrained more powerful than the greatest one of the greatest Jedi Masters, apparently, of all time.
Yeah. So that was beautifully said,
move.
and I'm trying not to get triggered by the sequels. I'm holding it in because I feel like this whole episode. No, it's fine.
Yeah,
because I agree with you. It's exactly right.
Well, young Anakin Skywalker has a similar problem.
Yeah,
right? like Anakin, the Hayden Christensen Anakin's a little bit better, although
Phantom Menace Anakin is.
But Phantom Menace Anakin is awful for that reason. Like, you could drop him at the beginning and the end of that movie, and he has zero growth, and in fact, he's just dumb luck, but in fact, it's not dumb luck. He's magically good at literally everything.
He's got midichlorians.
He's literally like in a fighter ship that he's never been in before, and he's like, "What's this button do?" Oh, it's exactly what I wanted it to do. Cool, good job, buddy.
Oh, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Why do I love you?
It's on net.
I know.
I do kind of feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with Star Wars. It's bad.
It's a problem. So actually, Jen, I totally agree with your assessment. I think it's really about the story itself. Because of course, you have to establish that your characters are at a baseline at the beginning of any story, right? You have to know what they're capable of and what they're not capable of. And look, there are tons of... I love the character of Superman, and I fully admit that quite a lot of the time, people don't know how to write Superman because of this overpowered sort of problem that you have. But that doesn't mean you can't write a really good Superman story. It's just that you have to accept that what Clark's limitations are and what Clark's growth pattern is throughout that story is probably not going to be physical in nature. It's not going to be like, he's going to start with the ability to, like, move planets. So it's not going to be a very interesting story if he goes from, like, I can move one planet to, like, I can move two.
I can play billiards with planets.
I can play billiards with planets, and it's fine. That's not a very interesting or compelling narrative. What is a pretty compelling narrative, though, is that, like, I can move planets except for I'm in love with a human, and I have to, like, protect this fragile marble without hurting people, which is very hard to do. Or it's, playing with loss and loneliness, or it's playing with the ideas of, like, how do you make moral choices? Like, how do you decide who to save or who not to save? Or do you have all the power in the world, so do you get to just decide that, like, this guy's a villain, so I'm just going to smush him and we're done, Like, those are the interesting things to explore with Superman. And so you end up having character, if you do it well, you do character growth that is emotional and philosophical. And that's where things grow over the course of a story. You can do that with all sorts of things. You could have Paul Atreides be this ultra powerful guy, but then have him really struggling with, how do I use this power? Right? Like,
do I want this power?
What is? Yeah, I don't want it. Take it away from me. And he does.
He said that one time, but it's like, I need more of that.
Yeah, you need more of that. Like, because there is a minute of that where he's like, well, what if I don't want to be the future of House Atreides? What if I don't want to be the
that one scene with him? Okay, so all right, the first 10 minutes of Dune, I really liked. I was like, okay, we're getting in it, and especially that scene with Paul and his father.
Oh yeah, that's a great scene.
And I'm just like, as a dad myself, I'm like, oh boy, where are we going from here?
Well, I love that too, because that is like, you kind of expect, like, that's one of the only moments in the film where you really get like, this is a good guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's Duke and he's whatever, but he's a good guy.